I have to start this bike test with just a little bit of a confession. Now, going back about 5 years ago, a very good friend of mine persuaded me to take a test ride on an early model Multistrada, and I have to say it completely blew me away with its speed and its handling. So much so that, well, I ended up buying one, and I had a couple of great road-oriented adventures on it. But I never really thought about it as an off-road bike, but I did wonder what would happen if Ducati really truly turned it into an off-road machine. Well, they did. But they didn't just sling a couple of knobbly tyres on it and spoke wheels, they properly re-engineered the whole bike.
The Ducati blurb says it's time to rewrite the rules of adventure. Now, that is a big, bold claim and a tough one to back up when there is so much choice out there. But let's start with what they have done with the road-oriented Multistrada to turn it into the Enduro. You still get the same tough frame from the original 1200, but the Enduro has a 30-litre fuel tank, spoked wheels and a 19-inch front one, 200mm of wheel travel and a new double-sided swing arm. You'll get luggage racks and Touratech built panniers as standard. The slightly little feel of the old bike is gone, as the seat is an inch taller than the standard Multistradas and the bars 50mm higher, which, along with the bigger tank, makes the whole package feel a lot bigger. So, whilst the Enduro retains the same basic lines of the original 1200, it is unmistakably a very different bike. As you'd expect, you can personalise your Enduro with a mouth-watering range of options like crash bars, heated grips, Termione exhaust, carbon fibre bodywork and other pieces of luggage, all neatly packaged up into touring, enduro, sport or urban packs. You also get Multistrada Link, the new app which, according to Ducati, makes each journey an even more engaging, ultra-connected riding experience. Basically, it links the bike's electronics with the app and you can spend as much time reviewing how you've ridden as you've spent riding it in the first place.
As we're testing a Ducati again, it made perfect sense to come back to our friends at On Your Bike in Aylesbury and ask if we could borrow their Enduro. And despite them having watched me drop a brand new Africa Twin in a river a few months ago, amazingly, they still said I could.
Now, you might also think that the sensible thing to do with the engine would be to tune down the eye-popping 160 horsepower of the Testa Stretta DVT engine. It is, after all, a bike oriented towards riding off-road. But this is Ducati, and turning down the power would be like asking the sky gods to dial down the sunshine on the Costa del Sol. That's what you know it for, so why would you? And Ducati didn't, and I, for one, am delighted that they didn't. In terms of the looks of the bike, I always thought that the original Multistrada was by far the best looking of the big upright adventure touring machines, and you'd expect nothing less from Ducati. They are Italian after all. And by best looking, I'd even go as far as saying that they were the prettiest. Those curving lines were definitely more of the well-toned lady bodybuilder than Mr. Universe. So, has the Enduro retained those pretty lines? Well, the basics are there, but this is certainly a bodybuilder brother to the original lady.
So we've had the Enduro for a few hours now and we've been on tarmac with it and just a little bit of trail riding, and we can't go anything too extreme because it's got multi-purpose tyres on it, and really in the kind of weather we've been riding today I need a set of TKC 80s or something knobbly off-road. But this bike still has that amazing 160 horsepower that I was used to on my old Multistrada, and it is unbelievably fast and quick on the roads. I do notice the difference with the 19-inch front wheel. It doesn't turn in quite so quick into the corners, but it's still a lot of fun. And off-road, with the kind of stuff we've been taking it on so far, it does feel like an off-road bike, and I think a lot of that is down to the extra 50mm height on the handlebars. As soon as I stand up, it does feel like that's where it's meant to be.
For anyone used to riding the original models, there's no getting away from the fact that this is a big bike, taller and wider, and with a bigger front wheel, it's not the apex to apex, flicky, cornering monster that the original was, but it's not meant to be. It is still enormous fun on the tarmac, but it really does feel at home off of it as well. That lovely DVT motor and the extra 3 teeth on the rear sprocket will have your eyeballs fully in the rear socket positions and the skin in your face rippling back with G-force. The combination of off-road capacity with continent crossing comfort, excellent wind protection and more goodies than you'll ever really need make it a pretty good buddy for your next adventure. Has Ducati rewritten the rules of adventure? Well, they've given it a pretty good go, and the Multistrada Enduro certainly owns its own space.
There has been so much glowing press about this bike in MCN and all the other UK magazines that on my way here I was thinking to myself, can it really be that good? Before I get back to that statement, let me just talk about the things that niggled me. The clutch. When you pull it in, my finger was occasionally catching on the high beam lever. And that's about it really. And if that's the worst I can say about this bike, then it really is that good. So this has been one of the very, very few occasions when I ask myself the question, would I have one of these in my garage? That there is no if, buts or maybes. It's just a very, very simple yes.